Good day, future licensed professional teachers. Welcome to the ultimate challenge that will test your knowledge, your strategy, and your nerves.
That's right. Your turn into deal or no
Deal
deal.
Or
or
no
no
deal.
deal.
Licensure
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 examination for
examination for
teachers.
teachers. We're not just opening briefcases here, we're opening minds. This is where let preparation meets high stakes fun.
I am Charlene May Naldoza, your quiz master with a mission.
I'm Kristina, bringing you the tension and the thrill.
I am Noreen, ready to make you think, laugh, and maybe even sweat a little.
In this game, it's all about how much you know and how much you're willing to risk.
You'll be answering real licensure examination for teachers' questions.
And if luck's on your side, you might think just walk away with the highest points and ultimate bragging rights.
Let's
Let's
play
play.
deal or no
Deal
deal.
or
Or
no deal?
no deal.
Let's
Let's
Let
begin.
edition.
edition. All right, future educators, here's how the game works.
We will start by selecting who gets to answer the next question through our fun and totally fair method, the duck race.
Each of your names is assigned to a racing duck. When we hit start, those ducks will race across the screen.
The duck that crosses the finish line first, that person gets the spotlight and a chance to answer the question.
But wait, it gets more exciting. Once the question is revealed, the chosen player has to decide. Deal
Deal
or no
Or
deal.
or
no
no
deal.
deal?
If you say deal, you open a virtual case that can give you big points or small points. We're talking anywhere from 1 to 50.
But if you say no deal, you'll play it safe. You'll still answer the question and automatically earn 5 points no matter what.
Choose wisely. High risk could mean high reward or high regret.
Ready? Ducks on the line. Let's race for a chance to play.
All right. For the first virtual case, let's have Boreros. Okay, Boreros, which of the following scenarios does not reflect a private self? A. Sharing personal thoughts and emotion with a close friend. B. Reflecting on personal experiences and emotion in a private setting. C. Engage in public speaking and expressing opinions to a large audience. D. Keeping a personal journal for self reflection. Next slide, please. Yes, very good. It's letter C. Engage in public speaking and expressing opinion to a larger audience. All right, Barreras, deal or no deal? Oh, it's deal. Next slide, please. You have 30 points, Boreros. Now, let's rationalize each. Okay, so the private self is one of the types of the self awareness. Self awareness, also known as self understanding, it is the ability to recognize one's own ability, character, behaviors, and attitude. So, being self aware is having a good knowledge and understanding of yourself, including being aware of your own feelings and character. So, practicing self awareness is about learning to better understand why you feel, what you feel, and also why you behave in particular way. So having this awareness gives you an opportunity and freedom to change things about yourself. So there are two types of self-awareness. We have public self-awareness and we also have private self-awareness. So when we say public self-awareness is when people are aware of how others see them. So public self awareness refers to understanding how we perceive by others. It involves being conscious of the impression we make our social rules, and how our behaviors and appearance might be interpreted in public setting. For example, a person giving a speech may feel nervous about how the audience perceive their confidence and knowledge. So they may just adjust their tone and body language to appear more engaging. Now, let's have the private self-awareness. So, private self-awareness is when people are aware of something about themselves that might not be. So, private self-awareness, this is the aspect of awareness where individuals reflect on their internal thoughts, feelings, values, and beliefs. So this type of self-awareness focuses on personal insight that might not be visible or known to the others. So for example, a person may keep a journal to express their thoughts and feelings, helping them to understand their emotions and reactions better. So go back to the questions. Previous slide, please. All right. So for the option A, sharing personal thoughts and emotion with a close friends, while sharing personal thoughts, it can involve other person. So it still reflect private self-awareness because the act of articulating one's emotion and experience to trusted friend often leads to deeper self-understanding. And this sharing is typically done in safe, private context, allowing for personal reflection. So for the option B, reflecting on personal experiences and emotion in private settings. So this option explicitly focus on private self-awareness because engaging in reflection in a private setting indicates a deliberate effort to understand one's thoughts and feelings. So since letter C is the correct answer, let's proceed first in the letter D. So in letter D option, keeping a personal journal for self-reflection. So keeping a personal journal is also a classic example of the self-awareness. So for the letter C, this is the correct answer. Engaging in public speaking and expressing opinions to a larger audience does not reflect private self-awareness because it involves presenting oneself to other and being concerned about how one is perceived in a public setting. All right, next slide, please. All right, Igay. Now, Igay, for the second virtual case. Next slide, please. All right. Which of the following is an example of an intrinsic motivation? A. Desire for financial reward. B. A sense of personal accomplishment. C. Pressure from others. And D. Fear of failure. Igay, deal or no deal? Oh, it's no deal. So, Igay, what's your answer? Okay, Igay automatically got 5 points. Next slide, please. Yes, Igay got the correct answer. Okay, let's rationalize each. Okay, so intrinsic motivation is also a type of motivation. So when we say motivation, the process that initiate guides and maintains goal-oriented behavior. So when we say intrinsic motivation is when someone is driven to do something for reason that comes from within. So this can refers to when like employee is independently learning a new skills or when they derive enjoyment from a work task. So this is when someone is motivated to do something because they enjoy it or find it personally rewarding. So it derives come from the inside of the person. So, example, think of a student who read books because they love reading, not just to pass a test. So that is the intrinsic motivation. So now let's look at in the extrinsic motivation. So extrinsic motivation is when someone is driven to do something for external reasons, usually to earn a reward or avoid consequences. So this can refers to when an employee learns a new skills to get a raise or go above and beyond doing their task. So this is when a person does something to earn a rewards or to avoid punishment. So the motivation comes from outside. So in short, intrinsic motivation is doing something because it's meaningful or enjoyable, while the extrinsic motivation, doing something to get a reward or avoid a consequence. So let's understand each option. Next slide, please. Okay, for the option A, a desire for financial reward. So financial reward are external incentives, categorizing a motivation as extrinsic. So, since letter B is the correct answer, let's proceed first to the uh, third option, which is the pressure from others. This refers to influence and expectation imposed by the other people, which can compel someone to act in a certain way. And for the last option, which is the fear of failure, this is a negative motivator that can drive individuals to avoid failure rather than pursue goals for personal satisfaction. So letter B is the correct answer, a sense of personal accomplishment, because a sense of personal accomplishments comes from within and reflect the fulfillment and pride one feels in achieving a goal or mastering a skills. All right, next, let's proceed. Okay, let's have Arcilio. Okay, for the virtual case number 3. Okay, you arrive at your friend's house for a gathering. As soon as you step in, you are greeted with warm hugs and rush to offer you snacks and kakanin, showcasing their eagerness to make you feel at home. What traits of the Filipino are being displayed in that scenario? A. Cheerful personality. B. Respect for elders. C. Self sacrifice. And D. Filipino hospitality. Okay, next slide, please. Yes, very good. It's Filipino hospitality. But before that, deal or no deal? All right, it's deal. Next slide, please. Okay, Arcilio got 30 points. Now, let's rationalize each options. Okay, so the cheerful personality, respect for elders, self sacrifice, and Filipino hospitality, these are the Filipino traits. So when we say cheerful personality, this is the habit of smiling and laughing a lot, even when they're sad or happy. So Filipinos are known for having a cheerful personality. So this means we smile and laugh a lot, even during tough times. It's our way of staying strong and spreading good energy to others. So, for example, even after a typhoon, you might see people smiling, joking around, or helping each other with a positive attitude. That's the Filipino spirit, finding joy no matter what. So, next is the respect for elders. So, it is often demonstrated through gestures and also by using po and opo or offering seats to elders. So, respect for elders is a big part of Filipino values. We show this through simple but meaningful gestures like saying po and opo or using respectful language when speaking to older people. So, next is self sacrifice. So, refers to putting others' needs before one's own. So it offers more profound context of personal sacrifice. So self-sacrifice means putting others before ourselves, so especially for our loved ones. You'll see this in many Filipino families. For example, when a parent works overseas, sacrificing time with their family to provide a better life for them, or when our older siblings give up personal goals to help support younger siblings. That's self-sacrifice, doing something hard for good of others. So the last option is letter D, and this is the correct answer because Filipino hospitality reflects a warmth, generosity, and welcoming nature of Filipinos towards guests and visitors, making an effort to ensure that the visitors feel comfortable and appreciated. So, next slide, please. Let's proceed. All right, let's have Itorma for the virtual case number 4. Okay, in a science class, a group of students is designed to create a model of a solar system. At first, everyone is excited and eager to contribute ideas and gather materials. However, as the project progresses, some members begin to lose interest and fail to meet deadlines. What Filipino traits this refers to? A. Manana habit. B. Crab mentality. C. Ningas kugon. D. Bahala na attitude. Next slide, please. Yes, very good. It's Ningas Kugon. So, Itorma, deal or no deal? Oh, it's no deal. Okay, Itorma, you automatically got 5 points. Next slide, please. Okay, now let's rationalize each. Okay. Also, the manana habit, crab mentality, ningaskugon, and bahala na attitude is also part of our Filipino traits. So when we say manana habit, the Filipino terms for procrastination. So this is when delaying tasks even when they could be done today. For example, a student might keep saying, I'll do my homework tomorrow until it piles up and becomes stressful. So this habit can lead to missed deadlines and poor results. So it's important to practice time management and discipline. So next is crab mentality. So it is refers to self-serving attitude that generates envy and competitiveness towards other. So crab mentality is the attitude where people pull other down instead of supporting them, like crabs in a bucket pulling down a crab that tries to climb out. So this trait stops us from growing as a community. So we should support and uplift each other. So next is the option C, which is the Ningas Kogon. This is the correct answer. But before that, let's tackle first the bahala na attitude. So when we say bahala na attitude, this phrase meaning leaving everything into God's hand. So the bahala na attitude means leaving everything to faith or to God, kind of like saying come what may, like that. So while it can show faith or bravery, it sometimes lead to people to take risks without proper planning. So while faith is good, we also need responsibility and effort to achieve success. So for the correct answer, the option C, which is the Ningas Kogon, because it is refers to attitude of eagerly starting things but quickly losing eagerness soon after experiencing difficulty. So it describes someone who starts something with an excitement but quickly loses interest. Imagine someone who begins a school project with full energy but give up halfway when things get hard. So these traits prevents us from finishing what we start. So it is important to develop perseverance and stay committed even when it gets challenges. So the correct answer is letter C, Ningas Kogon. Okay, let's proceed. All right, it's Alivio. Okay, Alivio for the fifth virtual case. Okay, what principle of goal setting is being reflected in this statement? People achieve better results when they are genuinely dedicated to specific goal. This means it has to be something you really want to do. A. Challenge. B. Clarity. C. Commitment. D. Feedback. Next slide, please. Very good. It is letter C, commitment. All right. Before that, I'll leave you deal or no deal. Oh, it's deal. Okay, let's see. Next slide, please. Okay, wow. I'll leave you got 40 points. Okay, now let's rationalize each option. Okay, so These are the five principles of goal settings: the challenge, clarity, commitment, feedback, and also task complete. So, Locke and Lutman goal setting theory is based on an assumption that conscious, well-defined goal affect behavior positively. So, and it can lead to improved task performance. So, first is the challenge. So, it is refers to setting goals that are difficult yet achievable, pushing individuals to grow. So, setting challenge goals requires a careful balance to ensure the right degree of challenge. So, goals that are either too easy or too difficult negatively affects motivation and decrease performance. So, when you next set a goal, it is important to ensure that they are challenging yet realistic, difficult yet attainable. So when setting a goal, ask yourself, are they challenging enough? Are they big enough to be motivating? Or are they realistic and attainable? Okay? So next is the clarity. So clarity, it focuses on uh, needs for goals to be well defined and understood to enhance motivation and focus. So, a clear goal is one that can be measured and leaves no room for misunderstanding. So, goals should be very explicit regarding what outcome is desired and how it will be measured, similar to the SMART goal setting principle. So, clear goals should help with understanding the task at hand, measuring the result, and also achieving success. So next is the commitment. So commitment, since commitment is the correct answer here, let's proceed first in the feedback. So when we say feedback, uh, feedback, it refers to information received regarding one's progress towards, in addition to selecting the right goal. So you should also listen to determine how well you're doing. This will allows us to adjust the goals and your approach in reaching it. So feedback doesn't necessarily have to come from other people. It can come also from self-judgment as well. So next is the task complexity. So task complexity, this is the fifth principle of goal settings, to identify the task complexity and make applicable judgment. So when a goal is complex, dividing it into smaller components can help individual remain focused and motivated. So uh, task complexity refers to a level of difficulty involved in achieving a goal. So when a goal is complex, it can feel overwhelming, making it harder for individual to stay focused and motivated. So to address this, it's helpful to break down the larger goal into smaller and more manageable parts. So by dividing a complex goal into smaller components, individuals can tackle each part step by step. So the correct answer here is the commitment, because the commitment, it reflects a strong desire and willingness to invest effort in the pursuit of the goals, which is critical for success. So when individuals are committed, they are more likely to perceive and work diligently towards the objective. So it is refers to deep dedication to achieve specific goals. It means that the person is not just interested in their objectives, but also willing to put in the necessary effort and time to reach them. So now I believe that would be all for my part in this part. Now I will give the virtual floor to Miss Gilbuena.
Okay, thank you, Miss Naldoza. And now let's see who will win the race. Okay, we have here a banyo. Next slide, please. Okay, now here let's open the sixth briefcase. Okay, here is the question. How does Filipino culture influence moral decision making in interpersonal relationships? A. By prioritizing individual rights over communal well being. B. Through emphasis on collective harmony and empathy. C. By promoting competition and individual achievement. Or D. Through strict adherence to legal regulations. Okay, what is your answer? Okay, and is it a deal or no deal? Okay, it's a deal. Now let's see. Okay, very good. Your answer is correct. It's letter B. Oh, you have 40 points. So now next slide, please. Okay, now let's rationalize each choices. Let's start with the first one. By prioritizing individual rights over communal well-being. Filipino culture is rooted in collectivism rather than individualism. Moral decisions are often influenced by the needs and expectations of the family or community rather than solely individual rights. Why is it incorrect? So, the reasons are Filipino culture places a high value on community, family, and social harmony, often referred to as kapwa, which emphasize shared identity and interdependence. Prioritizing individual rights over the group contradicts these cultural norms. While individual rights are important, they are typically considered in the context of how they affect others. And we have here, okay, let's just skip that letter B since it is the answer. Let's have your letter C first. Filipino culture is more about helping each other and working together, not about beating others to succeed. People value teamwork, respect, and keeping good relationships more than standing out or being the best. That is why letter C is not the answer. For example, in families or communities, people often share their success with others and make decisions that are good for the group, not just for themselves. So, moral decisions are based more on cooperation and care, not competition or individual success. And let's have here letter D, through strict adherence to legal regulations. So this is not accurate because in Filipino culture, moral decision making, especially in interpersonal relationship, is typically guided more by social values and informal norms than by formal laws or regulations. So concept like hiya, sense of shame, at utang na loob, depth of gratitude, pakikisama, smooth interpersonal relationship, and kapwa, which is shared identity. It is often more influential than legal frameworks when it comes to deciding what is right or wrong in personal and social situations. In practice, Filipino may choose to settle conflicts informally within the family or community rather than through legal channels to preserve relationships and avoid public embarrassment. And going back to the answer, which is letter B, Filipino culture values pakikisama or getting along with others, and kapwa, which is shared identity, which encourage maintaining harmonious relationship and showing concern for others' feeling. These cultural traits strongly influence how people make moral choices, often prioritizing group cohesion over personal gain. So that's it for number 6. Now let's move on to the next number. Okay, let's see who is the lucky one. Okay, we have here Russia. Okay, let's open the next briefcase. Okay. Question is, which ethical principle emphasize the promotion of good and the well-being of others? We have here A, principle of beneficence, B, principle of justice, C, principle of autonomy, D, principle of non-maleficence. Okay, what is your answer? Okay, let's see if your answer is correct. Oh no! The answer is letter A. It's principle of beneficence. But don't worry, if you don't get the correct answer, you still get points. Okay, now let's move on here. Okay, now let's rationalize each principles. Let's start with the principle of justice since letter A is the answer. What is principle of justice? This principle it talks about justice, about fairness and equality. It does not focus on promoting good or the well-being of individuals directly. Its relation to beneficence is complementary. Both can informal the ethical decisions, but justice is more about fair treatment, not direct benefit. And now let's have letter C, which is the principle of autonomy. Autonomy is centered on individual freedom and informed consent, not on actively promoting the well being of others. While supporting autonomy can contribute to someone's well being, its primary concern is self determination, not doing good for the others. That is why it's not the answer. And letter D, which is the principle of non maleficence. This principle is about avoiding negative outcomes, not necessarily promoting positive ones. It is closely related to beneficence, but more focused on not causing harm than on actively doing good. And going back to letter A, why it is the answer, which is the principle of beneficence. The principle of beneficence directly emphasizes the promotion of good and the well-being of others, which aligns exactly with the question. It guides actions intended to positively impact individuals and society. So let's summarize it all. When we say beneficence, it's to do good. And when we say justice, it is to be fair. And when we say autonomy, it is to respect choice. And when we say non maleficence, it is not to do harm. Okay? And now let's proceed to the next number. Okay, we have here Montemayor. Let's open the next briefcase. Okay, the question is how ethical principles can guide decision making in addressing environmental sustainability. A. By prioritizing short term economic gains over long term environmental impacts. B. Through advocating for strict governmental regulations without considering economic impacts. C. By balancing economic growth with ecological stewardship and future generation needs. Or letter D. Through disregarding international agreements on climate change for economic growth. Okay, what's your answer, Montemayor? Okay, let's see if it is correct. Very good. It's letter C. So, are you going to choose deal or no deal? Okay, it's a deal. Let's see. Oh, wow, you've got plus 30 points. Now let's rationalize. Let's have here first the first choice, which is by prioritizing short-term economic gains over long-term environmental impacts. Why this is not the answer? This approach focuses on immediate profit while ignoring long-term consequences, violates the principle of non-maleficence as it leads to environmental harm, disregards the principle of justice as it unfairly burdens future generations, and ethical decision making, which is requires considering lasting effects, not just temporary benefits. That is why it is not the answer. While we have here letter B, while through advocating for strict governmental regulations without considering economic impacts, while environmental protection is important, ignoring economic implications can lead to job losses, inequality, or harm to communities. This violates the principle of justice as it may place undue burden on certain groups, overlooks the principle of autonomy if stakeholders aren't involved in decision making. Ethical sustainability includes fairness and inclusive policies, not extremes. And now we have here letter C. Okay, since this is the answer, so let's just skip this part. And now here, okay, let's have here letter D. Through disregarding international agreements on climate change for economic growth. We have here the answer is not correct because it is rejecting cooperation for national or economic interest, undermines global responsibility, violates justice by acting unfairly in a global context, contradicts beneficence and non-maleficence as it contributes to global harm, and also ethical responsibility includes honoring commitments and collaborating across borders. So that is why the answer is letter C, by balancing economic growth with ecological stewardship and future generation needs. Why? Because this reflects a comprehensive ethical approach considering multiple values such as justice. It ensures fairness for both current and future populations. We have also here the beneficence, aims to do good by preserving natural systems, and the non-maleficence, which is avoid harm to the environment and human health. And lastly is the autonomy, supports informed decision making and participation. This balance creates a long-term and responsible sustainability policies. And now let's move on to number 9. Okay, let's have here. Okay, we have here Racho. Okay, let's open the next briefcase. Okay, so here is the question. Which ethical theory emphasizes the cultivation of virtuous character traits? Is it A, consequentialism, B, utilitarianism, or C, deontology, or D, virtue ethics? So what is your answer? Okay, let's see. Oh no, your answer is wrong. The correct answer is letter D. Okay, now let's have here. Okay, let's rationalize. Let's start with the letter A, which is the consequentialism. So, consequentialism, it is a broad ethical theory where the rightness or wrongness of action depends on their outcome or consequences. So, this focus on achieving the best results, not the character of the actor. Consequentialism does not emphasize personal virtues or moral character. It evaluates action based solely on outcomes, regardless of whatever the person acting is virtuous. And now let's have here utilitarianism. So when we say utilitarianism, it is concerned with results, especially maximizing happiness, not with developing virtues or character. An action is judged by how much good it produces, not by who performs it on their character. So that is why B is not the correct answer. So let's move on here. Letter C. So why it's not the correct answer, which is the deontology, it focuses only on the following moral rules or duties, not on becoming virtuous person. A person could be virtuous in character, but still act wrongly by breaking a moral rule under deontological ethics. And here is the answer, which is the virtue ethics. This is the only theory among the choices that emphasize the cultivation of virtuous traits, and moral character. It's not primarily about rules or consequences, but about being a good person. So now, here, a summarization. Why not A? It focuses on results, not character. And not letter B, it is because it concerned with utility, not virtue. And not letter C, it's because it's based on obligation, not character traits. And now let's move on here to number 10. Okay, we have here Doro. Okay, let's open the next briefcase. Okay, so the question for you, Doro. What phenomena best describes the growing interdependence of the world's population, cultures, and economies? Is it A, industrialization, B, socialization, C, globalization, or D, international integration? Okay, what's your answer? Oh, letter C. Let's see if it's correct. Very good. It's letter C. So is it a deal or no deal? Oh, it's a deal. Now let's see. Oh, wow. You got plus 50 points, Doro. Now let's rationalize each choices. Let's start with the first one, which is the industrialization. But first, let's define what is industrialization. When we say industrialization, it refers to the process by which an economy transforms from primarily agriculture to one based on the manufacturing of goods. This choice, industrialization has played a significant role in shaping modern economies. It is more focused on the growth of industries and the technological advancement within the country, not on the interconnectedness of the world's populations, cultures, and economies. Now let's have here letter B. It's not also the answer. Why? Because socialization refers to the way individuals adjust to and learn within their own societies or cultures. While this is important, it does not specifically describe the interconnection between different populations, cultures, and economies across the world. So let's have here letter C. So since this is the answer, let's proceed first with the letter D. Why letter D is not the answer? Well, international integration deals with cooperation between countries. It is a more specific process and often focus on formal political or economic arrangements like treaties or international organization. It doesn't encompasses the broader, more organic phenomenon of cultural and social interdependence that globalization covers. And now let's have here the correct answer, which is the globalization. So when we say globalization, it refers to the growing interdependence of the world's population, cultures, and economies. It involves the increased interconnectedness through trade, communication, travel, technology, and cultural exchange. Globalization is a phenomenon that best describes the increasing interconnectedness of the world's populations, cultures, and economies. It involves the blending of culture, economic interdependence, and global networks that is extend beyond national boundaries, directly aligning with the question. So to summarize it all, letter A, it's not the answer because it focuses only on economic development within countries, not global interdependence, and not also letter B, which is because it involves individual learning within a society, not global culture or economic exchange. Not letter D also because it focuses on formal cooperation between countries, not global interconnectedness in all areas. That is why the correct answer here is globalization. And now, since I need to give to our next host, which is Miss Jade.
Okay, thank you, Miss Christina. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have here Mangiran. Okay, so Mangiran, what do you think is an expressive and constitutive essential act? A. Shopping. B. Biological view. C. Psychological view. D. Sociological view. Your answer is letter A. Let's see if it's correct. Next slide, please. Okay, letter A. Very good. So, deal or no deal? Okay, so you got 30 points for that. Let's rationalize the choices. Okay, so you chose shopping. So shopping is an expressive and constitutive essential act because the expressive aspect comes into play when our purchasing and choices reflects our values and aspirations. So the clothes we wear, the hobbies we invest, or the ethical products we chose can communicate something about who we are or who we want to be. So it's very important to acknowledge that not all shopping is necessarily expressive or deeply constitutive essential act. Impulse buy, routine grocery shopping, or purchase driven purely by necessity might lack this deeper significance. And additionally, factors like economic constraints and marketing influences can limit the extent to which our choices truly reflect our authentic selves. Next is we have the biological view. So biological view in the context of shopping, Men tend to be mission and task oriented shoppers, while women are more likely to be discovery oriented shoppers. So, while gendered shopping tendencies might exist, they don't necessarily reflect a deep essential drive. However, one could argue that aligning one's purchases with a perceived gender identity, whether traditional or not, can be expressive act. Next is psychological view. So women tend to be more comprehensive while men tend to favor objective information. So women tend to be more comprehensive. Women's tendency towards comprehensive information gathering might suggest a more identity conscious approach to purchasing, where the item is considered in relation to their overall self image, while men focus on objective information might be more task oriented, less about self expression. Next is social logical view. So the social logical view of buying behavior emphasizes how our social interactions, group affiliations, cultural norms, and societal structures influence what, why, and how we shop. So, this perspective would likely highlight how our social groups and cultural norms influence our purchasing decisions, which can certainly play a role in how we express ourselves and construct our social identities. So, in essence, the sociological view reminds us that we don't make purchasing decisions in a vacuum. So, our choices are deeply embedded in our social relationships, cultural context, and the broader structures of society. Understanding this social influence is crucial for comprehending the complexities of buying behavior. So let's go back to the question. Okay, so shopping is the answer because it is constitutive and repeated purchasing habits and the accumulation of possessions contribute to shaping our lifestyles, defining our social rules, and even extending our sense of self through the material objects we associate with. The sociological view, underscores this by highlighting how our social group and cultural norms influence our consumption choices. Therefore, while acknowledging that not all shopping is deeply essential, the choices we make as consumers influenced by biological tendencies, psychological considerations of self-image, and sociological pressures to express identity and fit into social structures. So, the biological view, psychological view, and sociological view are not constitutive essential act because these are the views of buying behavior. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have here Montalvo. Okay. The question is the following are levels that play a primary role in building identity, individual, community, and institution except A. Political self, B. Instrumental, C. Morals, D. Transformative. Your answer is letter A. Very good. Next slide, please. Okay, so the answer is political. Okay, so Montalvo, deal or no deal? Okay, deal. Next slide, please. Okay, so you got 30 points. Congratulations. Now let's rationalize the question. Okay, so we have here first the political self. So, political self is not a core level of identity building because it is a concept that refers to how one presents themselves politically, shaped by social affiliation and external opinions. So it is a result of identity development, not a foundational level. The political self is more on manifestation or expression of one's identity within the political sphere. So it's how an individual positions themselves in relation to political ideologies, parties, and issues. So this self is heavily influenced by social affiliations. So social affiliations means community and the norms and values promoted by political institutions. So while our political views can certainly be a significant part of who we are, they are often a result of broader identity development at the individual, community, and institutional levels. Next is instrumental. So instrumental, it is an institutional level. So this involves actions aligned democratic rules and roles, helping individuals internalize and institutional norms. So this instrumental level within the context of institution, it refers to the ways in which individuals learn and internalize the rules, norms, and expectations of various institutions. Example, school, workplaces, government organizations. By participating in this institution and adhering to their instrumental functions. So individuals develop a sense of belonging, competence, and understanding of their roles within the broader social structure. So this process contributes to identity formation by shaping how individuals see themselves in relation to authority, rules, and organized system. For example, learning the procedures of workplace and fulfilling one's role contributes to a professional identity. Next is the moral. So it is an individual level because it represents personal values and beliefs, which are core competence of one's identity and moral compass. So these are deeply aspects of individual self and play a fundamental role in shaping one's identity. So developing a strong moral identity is a key part of individual identity formation. These are personal values often interact with and are influenced by community norms and institutional ethics, but the initial grounding of morals is typically at the individual level. Lastly, the transformative. So it is a cross level. Cross level means individual, community, and institution. So it entails reflective process that allow identity redefinition across personal and societal levels. So the transformative level involves a more profound and reflective process of identity change and redefinition. So this can occur at the individual level through significant life experiences or self reflection that leads to a shift in self perception. It can also happen at the community level through a social movements or collective experiences that shape shared identities and norms. So let's go back to the question. Okay, so the answer is political self. While our political beliefs are an important aspect of how we navigate the social world, they are generally seen as product of our underlying identities development shaped by individuals, community affiliations, and institutional influences rather than a primary level in itself. So this analysis accurately captures this distinction. So next slide please. Okay, so we have Caballero Francis. Okay, so what type of self and identity that focuses on body image and self-esteem? First, the sexual self. Letter B, the material self. Letter C, the physical self. And letter D is the spiritual self. Your answer is letter B, material self. Let's see. Okay, so your answer is material self, and that's incorrect. So the correct answer is physical self. So do not worry because we still have more questions and more questions, more answers. Okay, so let's rationalize. Okay, so first is the physical self. The physical self is this aspect of self concept encompasses how we perceive and feel about our physical body, including its size, shape, attractiveness, health, and physical abilities. So, our body image, the mental picture we have of our body, is a crucial component of the physical self. So, positive body image often contributes to higher self esteem, while negative body image can significantly lower it. So, it concerns about physical appearances and how it will measure up to societal standards and central to the physical self. Next is the sexual self. While sexuality involves the physical body, its primary focus in our sexual desires, attractions, experiences, and identity. So body image can certainly impact of one's sexual esteem and comfort, but the core of the sexual self extends beyond just physical appearance only. Next is the material self. So, material self, it refers to the tangible objects, possessions, and wealth associated with ourselves. So, while our material possessions can sometimes be used to enhance our physical appearance or signal social status, which can indirectly affect our self esteem. So, the material self is more about the connection to the external world through what we own. Lastly is the spiritual self. So the spiritual self is the dimension that concerns our inner being, the values, the beliefs, and purpose in life and connection into something larger than ourselves. So while a strong spiritual self can contribute to overall well-being and a more balanced sense of self that might buffer against negative body image, and it doesn't directly center on physical appearance or self-esteem related to it. So let's go back to the question. Okay, so the answer for this is the physical self because the physical self is the most relevant category when discussing self and identity with a primary focus on body image and self esteem. So it is the domain where our perceptions and feelings about our physical being most directly influence how we value ourselves. So, next slide, please. Okay, so we have Jonalyn Talibutab. Okay, so what is the sense that helps awaken our spiritual self, that helps awaken our and help us to connect our inner core with other people, nature, and everything in this world? A. Ceremonies. B. Rituals. C. Religion. D. Magic. So your answer is letter B. Let's check. Okay, very good. So deal or no deal? Deal. Okay, let's see. You got 30 points. So congratulations. Now let's rationalize first. So we the choices we have is ceremonies. So let's discuss first the rituals. So rituals help us honor, to remember, to change, and they can involve actions, symbols, and ceremonies. So rituals are structured of actions, words, objects, or symbols performed in a specific order, often with a symbolic meaning. So rituals often involve sensory experiences, chanting, music, incense, specific movements, which can help bypass the rational mind and open us to deeper feelings of connection and spirituality. Next is the ceremonies. So, ceremonies aim to encourage individual and social self development and improvement. So, these are often more formal, elaborate, and public events that may incorporate rituals. So, they typically mark significant occasions such as weddings, graduations, or religious holidays. So, while ceremonies can certainly have a spiritual dimensions and foster connection, their primary aim is often broader and encompassing social recognition, celebration, or the formal observance of an event. Next is the religion. So, religion is a system of beliefs, practices, rituals, and symbols designed to facilitate closeness to sacred and transcendent. So it is a comprehensive system of beliefs, practices, rituals, and symbols designed to facilitate closeness to the sacred, transcendent, and it provides framework for understanding the universe, our place within it, and often includes moral codes and community structures. So religion provides the context of often the specific rituals that can awaken our spiritual self, and it is the practice of rituals within the religious framework that directly fosters the sense of connection we describe. So, religion provides the map, but rituals are the active steps on the journey. While magic, it is a trick that seems to be impossible and are done by a performer to entertain people. So in this context, magic refers to trick performance for entertainment. While this act can evoke wonder and a sense of mysterious, a sense of curiosity, and they are based on illusion and deception rather than a genuine connection to spiritual or transcendent realm. So therefore, it does not serve the purpose of awakening our spiritual self and foster deep connection in the way the other options do. So let's go back to the question. Okay, so ceremonies can be spiritually significant and religion provides framework. It is the active engagement in rituals. With their symbolic actions and potential for shared experience, the most directly cultivates the sense of spiritual awakening and interconnected is ritual because the deliberate and often sensory nature of rituals help us move beyond the everyday top into our deepening understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. So next slide please. Okay, let's have Book Cherry Ann. Okay, so what aspect of human life of sexual behavior that our reproductive organs, nervous system, and ebb and flow of hormones like testosterone and estrogen lay the groundwork for sexual desire, arousal, and potential for reproduction. A. Biological capacity. B. Cultural expectations. C. Personal values. D. Individual experiences. The answer is letter A. Let's check. Okay, very good. The answer is letter A. Deal or no deal? Deal. Let's see. Okay, so you got 30 points. Now let's rationalize your answer. Okay, first, biological capacity. So it is a forms the foundation layer encompassing our physical anatomy, hormonal influences, and psychological responses that enable sexual activity. So our reproductive organs, the nervous system, and the ebb flow of hormones like testosterone and estrogen, they are the lay groundwork for sexual desire. While the cultural expectations is the societal norms, beliefs, and practices its um that dictates what is considered acceptable, desirable regarding sexual behavior within a particular group or society. So these expectations often rooted in religion, law, and tradition, and influence everything from attitudes towards premarital sex and homosexuality to the roles of men and women that are expected to play a sexual relationships. Next is the personal values. So personal values is deeply held beliefs and principles about what is right, wrong, and important of the realm of sexuality. So it is shaped by upbringing, moral philosophies, and individual reflection. So these values influence decisions about sexual partners, the nature of sexual intersections, and the integration of sexuality with intimacy and relationships. So an individual's sense of self-respect, their understanding of consent, and their beliefs about commitment all contribute to their personal values regarding sexual behavior. Lastly, the individual experiences. So we've through a shape the express of our sexuality, past relationships, early sexual encounters, and personal exploration. So uneven instances of pleasure or trauma contribute to our unique sexual history and influence our present and future behaviors. So what we learned about sex, the emotional connections we have formed, the experiences we had with intimacy all play a significant role in shaping our desires, preferences, and how we engage in sexual activity. So, this personal narrative interacts with our biology, cultural context, the personal values to create a complex tapestry of our sexual life. So, let's go back to question. So the answer is biological capacity because the aspect of human sexual behavior where our reproductive organs, nervous system, and hormones like testosterone and estrogen is a provides provides a hormones like testosterone and estrogen. So this form is fundamental physical layer upon which all our influences on our sexuality are built. So next slide please. Okay, so let us have our host, Miss Charlene.
Okay, thank you for that, Miss Jade. Okay, now let's proceed to the briefcase number 16. Okay, let's have Pat Pat. Okay, which of the following is considered as a primary agent of socialization and plays a crucial role in shaping an individual's development? A. Family. B. School. C. Church. D. Peer group. Okay, it's letter A. Next slide, please. Yes, very good. It's letter A. Okay, Pat, deal or no deal? Okay, it is deal. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, Pat got 40 points. Okay, let's rationalize each choices. Okay. These are the agents of socialization: family, school, church, and peer group. So when we say family, it is the first group that individuals encounter and is crucial in shaping their values, belief, behaviors, and identity. So the family is the first social groups individuals encounter and plays a foundational role in shaping their values, belief, and behaviors. So, when we say family, it is the where the individual first learn about relationship, communication, and social rules. So, the early experience and teaching from the family members profoundly influence a person's worldview and behavior throughout the life. Next is the school. So the school responsibility is to teach moral, spiritual, and political values that will help the students to become patriotic and morally upright citizens. So the schools are responsible for imparting knowledge and teaching moral, spiritual, and politic values. So they help students develop skills necessary for citizenship and social interactions. Next is the church. So church is specifically designed to provide moral guidance and ethical teaching rooted in spiritual belief. So churches provide moral guidance and ethical teaching often rooted in specific spiritual beliefs. So they can influence a person's moral framework and also community involvement. So lastly is the peer group. So peer group, it is composed of individuals of roughly equal age and also similar characteristics. So peer group consists of individuals of similar age and characteristics. So they provide a companionship and a sense of belonging, influencing social behavior and interest characteristics. So the correct answer here is very good, but it is the family because it is considered as a primary agent of socialization because it is the first context in which individual learn about social norms and values. Okay, let's proceed. All right, let's have umpad for the 17th virtual case. Okay, umpad. It is the tangible aspect of the person that can be directly observed and examined. A. Physical self. B. Social self. C. Psychological self. And D. Material self. Okay, it's letter A. Next slide, please. Yes, very good. Umpad, it's letter A. So, umpad, deal or no deal? Oh, it's deal. Okay, let's see. Umpad. Okay, Umpad got 15 points. Okay, so let's rationalize each choices. Okay, when we say physical self, this is refers to the body, the concrete dimension, the tangible aspect of an individual that can be seen and touched. So it is refers to the body and its characteristics, including appearance, health, and physical abilities. Next is social self. So this is refers to how you see yourself in relation to the others, your social rules, relationships, and also the group memberships. So your sense of a self based on a relationship with others and a social rule in society. It also involves your social interactions, how you present yourself to others, and how you feel in social situation. Next is the psychological self. So when we say psychological self, this encompasses your thoughts, feelings, belief, values, and the inner world. It's about your mental processes, personality, and self awareness. So, your inner thoughts, feelings, and mental processes, including your beliefs, attitudes, and values. So, it involves self esteem, self awareness, and also self concept, in which how you perceive and think about yourself. And lastly is the material self. This involves your possession, including your home, clothes, belongings, family, and even your reputation or status. So it's about what you view as mine. So what you consider to be extension of your identity. So it consists of your like possessions, including your body, home, car, clothes, and other material goods. It also reflects your identity status and success in the society. So the correct answer here is yes, correct. Umpad, it's physical self because it involves the body image, which is how you perceive and feel about your physical appearance. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, so let's have Brigas for the briefcase number 18. Okay, Brigas. The process of examining thoughts, feelings, and behavior is known as A. Self esteem, B. Self awareness, C. Self reflection, and D. Self concept. Okay, it is letter C. Okay, let's see if it is letter C. Very good, Brigas. It's letter C. Now, is it deal or no deal? Okay, is it no deal? Okay, it's okay, Brigas. You automatically got 5 points. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's rationalize the choices. So when we say self-esteem refers to a perception and evaluation of one's own worth. So it is how much value individuals place on themselves and their abilities. So self-esteem refers to how we perceive and evaluate our own worth. So it's about how much value we place on ourselves and for our abilities. For example, someone with a high self-esteem believes in their skills and feels confidence in social situation, while someone with low self-esteem may doubt their abilities. So next is the self-awareness. So self-awareness, it is the ability to recognize and understand one's own emotion, thoughts, and behavior, as well as their impact on others. So being self-aware is having a good knowledge and understanding to yourself, including being aware of your own feelings and also character. So since self-reflection is the correct answer here, so let's proceed first in what is self-concept. So self-concept, it is refers to overall idea of who a person thinks they are. So it includes self-perceptions, beliefs, and feelings about oneself. So it is refers to overall idea. So it shapes by our experiences and how we perceive our identity. So the correct answer is the self-reflection because it is the process of examining one's thoughts, feelings, and behavior. So self-reflections allows us to understand why we think and act the way we do, leading to personal growth. So for example, after a difficulty conversation, someone might reflect on their reactions and understand how they could communicate better in the future. All right, so now let's proceed. Okay, let's have the Udai for the briefcase number 19. Okay, the Udai. All are examples of basic emotion except A. Happiness, B. Hate, C. Sadness, D. Surprise. Okay, your answer is letter B. Okay, let's check. Yes, very good. It's letter B. Okay, the Udai, deal or no deal? Okay, it's deal. Okay, let's check. Next slide, please. Okay, Dayuda, you got 30 points. Okay, let's rationalize the choices. So these are the six basic emotions by Paul Ekman. We have happiness, sadness, disgust, fear, anger, and surprise. So first is the happiness. So the happiness is often defined as a pleasant emotional state that is characterized by feeling of contentment, joy, gratification, satisfaction, and well-being. So it often arises from the positive experiences, achievements, or fulfilling relationships. Happiness can enhance overall mental health and also physical health, and it is associated with increased energy, motivation, and social connection. So next is the sadness. So this is the type of emotion often defined as the transient emotional state characterized by the feeling of disappointment, grief, hopelessness, disinterested, and also dump mode. So this emotion can result from loss, disappointment, or unmet expectations, while often viewed negatively. And also sadness, it is a natural response that can lead to reflection, personal growth, and a deeper understanding of oneself and one's circumstances. So next is the fear. So it is a powerful emotion that can also play an important role in survival. When you face some sort of danger and experience fear, you go through what is known as a fight or flight response. So fear prepares the body to respond to threats by increasing the like heart rate, sharpening senses, and also redirecting energy. So while it can be debilitating in some situation, fear also serves as a protective mechanism, helping individuals avoid the harmful of the situations. So next is the this gas. So this gas This is a strong emotion that results in feeling repulse. So this emotion often arises in response to unpleasant stimuli such as bad smell or unappealing sights or morally repugnant action. So next is the anger. So it can be particularly powerful emotion characterized by hostility, agitations, frustration, and also antagonism towards others. So it often arises in response to perceived injustice, threats, or frustration, while anger can lead to constructive action. If the channeled appropriately, it can also result in negative outcome such as conflict or aggression when not managed effectively. And lastly, the surprise. So it is usually quite brief and characterized by the psychological startle response following something unexpected. So this emotion can be positive, like for example, surprise party, or negative, example, shocking news. So surprise can heighten awareness and prompt quick reaction, often leading to curiosity. So the answer of that question is the hate, because hate is not part of the six basic emotion by Paul Ekman. Okay, so let's proceed. Okay, for the number 20 briefcase. Okay, let's have Kilario. Okay, Kilario, the students has been getting low grades in his or her assignment and quizzes. Which intervention is the best? A. Let the students be. He or she realize it soon enough. B. Ask the student what is happening in his or her current life that affecting his or her academic performance. C. Ask the student's current situation that is affecting his or her academic performance and also inform his or her parents or guardians about it. Or letter D. Ignore the whole situation and one should not get involved in anything. Okay, the answer is okay, letter C. Let's check. Okay, correct. It's letter C. So, is it deal or no deal? Okay, is it deal? Okay, let's see. Next slide, please. Okay, Kilario, you got 20 points. Okay, now let's rationalize the choices. Okay, for the letter A, let the students be. He or she will realize it soon. So this option suggests allowing the students to figure out their academic issues on their own without intervention. So while some students may learn from their mistake independently, this approach can lead to continued low performance and frustration. So it fails to provide the support or address the underlying issues. So for the letter B, ask the students what is happening in his or her current life that affecting his or her academic performance. So these options involve initiating a conversation with the students to understand any personal challenges impacting their study. So this is a positive step also that as it shows care and concern for the students' well-being. However, it might not be sufficient on its own as it does not involve parents or guardians who may also provide support. So for the letter C, this is the correct answer. So let's proceed first in the letter D. So for the letter D, it ignores the whole situation. One should not get involved in anything. So this option suggests not addressing the student's low performance at all. So ignoring the issues can lead to worsening academic problems and feelings of neglect for the student. So it does not promote a supportive learning environment that can have long negative effects. So for the letter C, this is the correct answer. This option combines understanding the student situation while also engaging their parents or guardians for additional support. So this is the best choice because it is address the issue directly and seeks to understand the root causes of the students' low performance because it involves their parents, because it allows for a collaborative approach to support the students, which can lead to more effective intervention. So to continue, I will give the virtual floor to Miss Gilbuena.
Okay, thank you, Miss Charlene. Now let's proceed here. Okay, let's see. Who's the lucky winner? Okay, we have here Santosidad. Now let's open the next briefcase, which is briefcase number 21. Okay, the question is a school is offering scholarship. Which of the following would best reflect the concept of equality? A. Giving the same scholarship amount to every student, regardless of their financial need. B. Providing additional resources or support to ensure every student has an equal opportunity to apply for a scholarship based on their individual needs and background. Or letter C. Awarding scholarship only to the top academic performers. Or letter D, offering scholarship based on the student's popularity among peers. So what's your answer? Okay, let's see. Oh, very good. The answer here is letter B. Now, is it a deal or no deal? Oh, it's a deal. Okay, you've got plus 3. Now, let's rationalize each choices. But first, let's give the meaning of equality. When we say equality, it means giving everyone fair access to the same opportunities, considering individual differences or disadvantages. Now let's rationalize each of the letters. Let's start with the uniformity. When we say uniformity, it is giving the same scholarship amount to every student regardless for their financial needs. That is why letter A is not the answer because it reflects uniformity, not equality. It treats everyone the same without considering different needs or backgrounds. Some students may not need help, while others may need more support to access the same opportunities. Now, since letter B is the answer, which is equality, so let's proceed first with letter C. So, letter C, the choice is about meritocracy. So when we say meritocracy, it is not equality. It focuses solely on achievement without considering if all students had the same opportunities to excel academically. Now let's have your letter D. So the choices for letter D, it is stand for favoritism. This reflect favoritism or subjective criteria and has nothing to do with ensuring fair access or support for students based on needs and opportunity gaps. Now, going back to letter B, we have here the equality, which is providing additional resources or support to ensure every student has an equal opportunity to apply for a scholarship based on their individual needs and background. So, this reflects true equality by recognizing different challenges and helping level the playing field so all students can compete fairly. So there, now let's proceed to the next number. Okay, we have here Cantu now. Okay, let's open the next briefcase. Okay, the question is which of the following best describes Socrates' approach to philosophy? A. He emphasized self examination and the importance of questioning assumptions. Or letter B. He believed in the pursuit of wealth and success as the highest goals. Or letter C. He focused on scientific experiments to understand the world. Or letter D. He believed in following religious teachings without question. So, what's your answer? Okay, let's check. Very good. It's letter A. Is it a deal or no deal? Okay, it's a no deal. Okay, so now next, let's rationalize. So first, let's introduce Socrates. It is he was a classical Greek philosopher widely regarded as one of the founding figures of Western philosophy. He is best known for his method of inquiry called the Socratic method. Now let's have here the letter A, which is he. Okay, so this is the correct answer. So let's just skip this one first. Let's proceed with letter B. He believed in the pursuit of wealth and success as the highest goal. This is incorrect because Socrates rejected materialism and believed that focusing on wealth distracted people from virtue and wisdom. Now, when we look at letter C, it's also not correct because Socrates was not a scientist. He focused on ethics and dialogue rather than empirical science. He often criticized the pre Socratic natural philosophers for neglecting ethical questions. And letter D, it's not also the answer because Socrates encouraged questioning all belief, including religious one. He was even put to the death for allegedly corrupting the youth and questioning traditional Athenian gods. Now, going back to the correct answer, which is letter A. So, he emphasized self examination and the importance of questioning assumption. So, this reflects the core of Socratic philosophy, which is the Socratic method of questioning aimed at personal and moral development. Now, let's move on to the next one. Okay, we have here Villa Hermosa. Now let's open number 23 briefcase. Okay, which of the following stages of moral development, according to Lawrence Kohlberg, involves making moral decisions based on external laws or societal expectation? Is it A, pre-conventional, B, post-conventional, C, self-interest, or D, conventional? So now what's your answer? Okay, very good. It's letter D, which is conventional. Is it a deal or no deal? Okay, it's a deal. Let's see. Oh no, you've got -5. Now let's rationalize each question. So, according to Lawrence Kohlberg, theory of moral development, individuals progress through three main levels. These three levels, which explain how people reason about ethical dilemmas and moral issues. Here's a breakdown of each option with rationalization. Let's start with the pre-conventional. So this level is typical of children and involves morality that is externally controlled. Decisions are made based on consequences to oneself such as punishment or reward. So that is why it is not correct because the pre-conventional level focus on self-centered reasoning, not societal rules or laws. Now, letter B, we have here at this level, individuals recognize that rules and laws are not absolute and based on their morality on personal ethical principles or universal human rights. So that is why it is incorrect because moral decisions here are based on internal moral principles, not on internal external laws or expectation. Now let's have here. Okay, letter. Okay, letter C. So since it is the answer, so let's just skip the conventional. So let's have here the self and interest first. Okay, so when we say self interest, so here at this level, individuals make okay wait for what? Here, why it is incorrect because it represents egocentric reasoning, not law-abiding or societal expectation based on morality. And we can see self-interest is not associated with those three. Now let's have here the answer, which is the conventional. At this level, individuals make moral decisions based on conforming to social rules, laws, and expectations to gain approval or maintain social order, morality tied to how society views right and wrong. So, why it is correct, this stage involves following rules or laws set by society and moral reasoning. It is based on external expectations and lawful behavior rather than personal principles, or punishment avoidance. Now let's have here number. Okay, let's have first with the lucky winner to answer. Okay, we have here Manatad. So let's open briefcase number 24. Okay, the question is a student decided to follow their passion for painting even though their parents want them to pursue a more practical career like law or medicine. The student values personal freedom and believes that life's meaning comes from creating their own path regardless of what society or their family expects. Which philosophical perspective best reflects this student's attitude? A. Realism, B. Idealism, C. Existentialism, or D. Naturalism? Okay, let's check. Very good. It's letter C. It is existentialism. Is it a deal or no deal? Okay, it's a deal. Okay, you've got +3 points. And now let's rationalize each of them. Let's have here letter A. So, okay, you can just read it with your own eyes. The meaning of realism, idealism, existentialism, and naturalism. So here, let's summarize what is realism. Realism is the philosophical view that reality exists independent of the mind and can be known through observation and reason. In education, it focuses on objective knowledge, facts, and external world. Why it's not correct? Because realism emphasizes objective reality and factual knowledge, not personal choice or meaning making. The student's decision is subjective and value driven, which realism doesn't emphasize. Now let's have here letter B. Idealism holds the reality its mentality constructed or immaterial, and that ideas, values, and the mind are primary. In education, idealism promotes moral and intellectual development through the pursuit of truth, beauty, and godness. So, why it's not correct? Idealism is more about universal truths and ideals rather than personal freedom. The student is following subjective personal values, not a universal ideal or moral truth. Now let's have here, so since letter C is the answer, let's skip that part first and let's move letter D. Naturalism asserts that everything arises from natural properties and causes, and that supernatural or spiritual explanation are not needed. In education, it emphasizes learning through experience and the natural world supporting a child-centered approach. Why it's not correct? Because naturalism focuses only on biological and environmental influence and also natural development. Now, going back to the answer, which is essentialism, it is a philosophical perspective that emphasizes individual freedom, personal responsibility, authenticity, and the creation of meaning through one's own choice in a seemingly indifferent or meaningless universe. Why it's correct, the student chooses painting based on personal meaning and freedom, rejecting societal or family imposed path. This embodies an essentialist values of autonomy and self-created purpose. Now let's move on to number 25. Okay, we have here Atienza. So let's open the next briefcase. Okay, so now we have here what is the idea of the digital self developed from the original phenomenon? Is it A, extended self, B, material self, C, economic self, or D, physical self? So what's your answer? Okay, letter A, let's check. Oh, okay, here. So the correct answer is letter A. It's extended self. Very good. Now let's rationalize. Oh, you've got 40 points. Okay, here. Let's rationalize. Okay, since letter A is the answer, so let's move with the letter B, which is the material self. Why it is incorrect? The material self deals with tangible, physical possessions, not digital or virtual representation. The digital self is intangible and lives in virtual space, so this doesn't fully explain it. Okay. So let's move on with the letter C. While digital identities can influence economic behavior, like e-commerce or influencers, so the core concept of the digital self is about identity and representation, not economic function. Now we have here the letter D. Why it's not correct? Because the physical self is limited to the biological and visible self, while the digital self is non-physical and resides in virtual environments like social media and digital platforms. Now let's go back again to the correct answer, which is the letter A. This concept, introduced by psychologist Russell Bell, explain how we see things we own or create, like online profile, as part of ourselves. It is correct because the digital self is an extension of a person's identity in virtual spaces, how they represent, express, and project themselves online. These mirrors and extend self theory, where aspects outside the physical body become part of the person's sense of self. Now I will give the floor to Miss Aliguay.
Okay, thank you, Miss Christina. So let's see who will be the winner. Okay, so Tampos. Okay, so what is a major festival that celebrates New Year and is discovered by the Jews? A. Rosh Hashanah, B. Yom Kippur, C. Pesach, D. Shavuot. So your answer is A. Let's see. Okay, very good. So deal or no deal? Deal. Okay, you got 30 points. So let's rationalize. Okay, so Rosh Hashanah, it is a two-day holiday that marks the beginning of the Jewish New Year, and it is observed on the first and second days of the Hebrew month of Tishrei. So it translates from Hebrew to English as head of the year. So it is observed by the first and second days of the Hebrew month of Tishrei, which usually falls in September or October. So Rosh Hashanah, it is a time of both joyous celebration and deep introspection, and it is also considered a day of it is also considered a day of judgment and remembrance. Okay, so I'm sorry for that. So let's go back again. So Rosh Hashanah, it is a time of both joyous celebration and deep introspection, and it's also considered as day of judgment and remembrance. While Yom Kippur, it is a day of atonement. So it is the holiest day of the Jewish year. It follows Rosh Hashanah by 10 days and is a day of fasting, prayer, and repentance. So it is focused on seeking forgiveness for sins committed during the past year. So it is not a celebration of a new year. Well, Pesach, it is a Passover. So it is a major spring festival that commemorates the exodus of Israelites from slavery in an ancient Egypt. While it is a significantly holiday celebrating freedom and new beginnings in a historical context. So it is not a Jewish New Year. While Shavuot, it is a festival of weeks. So it is a holiday that occurs 7 weeks after Passover or the Pesach. It is originally celebrated the wet harvest and later become associated with the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai. So it is not celebrated to the celebration of civil or religious New Year. So let's go back to the question. Okay, so therefore the answer is Rosh Hashanah because the text directly states that it is the mark of the beginning of the Jewish New Year. So it explicitly states the head of the New Year and is identified as the two-day holiday that marks the beginning of Jewish New Year. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's see who will be the winner. Okay, so let's have Ibanez Elaine. Okay, so what concept of self awareness that is an individual accountability in groups? So your answer is letter A. Let's see if it's correct. Okay, very good. So, Elaine, deal or no deal? Deal. So let's see what points. Okay, you got 30 points. Very good. So let's rationalize first. So you chose the individuation. So the individuated individuals may feel less personally responsible for their actions because the sense of it was the group, not just me, prevails. So this can lead to behaviors that they wouldn't typically engage in alone, ranging from impulsive acts to antisocial behaviors like rioting or online harassment. So, however, it is important to note that the individuation doesn't always lead to negative behavior, but it can also increase pro social behavior if the groups of norms are positive. While the ideal self, it is a concept often discussed in humanistic psychology, particularly by Carl Rogers. It represents the person you aspire to be. So while the ideal self can influence the kind of group member you want to be, for example, a supportive and responsible one. So it doesn't always directly address the immediate sense of accountability within a group setting. So your ideal self might guide your long term behavior in groups, but it is not always about the moment to moment feeling of being responsible for your actions within a group. Next is the letter C, actual self. So it's your self image encompassing your current attributes, abilities, personality traits, and behaviors as you see them the present moment. Awareness of your actual self influence how you behave in a group. For example, if you see yourself as a responsible person, you might be more inclined to take accountability. However, the concept of the actual self itself doesn't inherently explain the feeling of being accountable to the group or the potential loss of the feeling in certain group situations. Lastly, the off self. So it represents the person you feel you should be based on external expectations, duties, and obligations. So these expectations come from parents, friends, society, or your own internalized sense of responsibility. So the auth self is perhaps the closest of these three to the concept of accountability groups because it includes being responsible and contributing member of a group. Then awareness of your off self can drive you to take accountability for your actions within the group. However, it focuses on the internalized feeling of obligation rather than the specific psychological process that can diminish accountability in the, the individuated state. So let's go back to the question. Okay, so the ideal self, the actual self, and the off self all contribute to our overall sense of self awareness and can indirectly influence your behavior in groups. But the individuation is the concept that specifically addresses the loss of individual self awareness and the consequent reduction in individual accountability within group settings. So, therefore, the answer is letter A. Next slide, please. Okay, let's have Dungog Julian. Okay, so which of the following ways to be a good Filipino that is aware on current events and participates in government program? A, be an active Filipino citizen. Letter B, study the Philippine history. Letter C, support local products. Letter D, speak the Filipino language. Your answer, Julian, is letter A. Let's see. Okay, very good. So deal or no deal? No deal? Okay, so you got automatically 5 points. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's rationalize. So your answer is be an active Filipino citizen. So be an active Filipino citizen, it involves actively engaging with the civic and political life of the nation. So, staying updated on the current events, government policies, and social issues through reliable news sources and critical thinking. This includes understanding the context, the potential impacts, and different perspectives surrounding these issues. While the study Philippine history is the understanding of the Philippines' past that is crucial for developing a strong sense of national identity, appreciating the struggles and triumphs of previous generations and learning from the past mistakes. So recognizing how um, it is the recognizing how historical events and politics have contributed to the challenges and opportunities the Filipino faces today. Lastly is the letter C, support local products. Okay, so study Philippine history. It is an understanding Philippines past that is. Oh, sorry for that. So, support local product. It is patronizing goods and services produced by Filipino individuals and businesses, contributes directly to the national economy and supports Filipino entrepreneurship. So, by buying Filipino-made goods such as choosing locally sources and manufactured products over imported alternatives whenever possible, and patronizing local products, restaurants, and service providers. Lastly is speak the Filipino language. So, the Filipino language based Tagalog with influences from other Philippine language, it is a symbol of national identity for a vital tool for communication and unity among diverse linguistic groups in the Philippines. So let's go back to the question. So these four are important aspects of being a good Filipino, but the letter A, being an active Filipino citizen, is the most direct and comprehensive way to be aware of current events and participate in government programs because it encompasses the engagement and responsibility needed to contribute actively to the nation's progress and well-being. So the other three contribute to a broader sense of national identity, economic strength, and cultural identity, which can indirectly support active citizenship. So, therefore, the answer is letter A, be an active Filipino citizen. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have layasan. Okay, so which of the following skills that can help you exercising metacognition? A. Knowing your limits. B. Modifying your approach. C. Skimming. D. Rehearsing. Your answer is letter A. Let's check. Okay, very good. So deal or no deal? Okay, deal. So you got 30 points. Very good. So let's rationalize. Knowing your limits, letter A, it is a foundational skill as it involves an accurate self assessment of your current knowledge and abilities. So, by understanding what you know and more importantly, what you do not know or struggle with, you can make informed decisions about your learning strategies and seek appropriate support when needed. So this awareness prevents overconfidence in areas where you are weak and encourages target effort where it is almost beneficial. While letter B, it is monitoring the effectiveness of your learning strategies. So once you have grasped of your limitations and strength, the skill of modifying your approach become crucial. In metacognition, it involves the effectiveness of your learning strategies. So if a particular method isn't yielding the desired result, the metacognitively skilled learner will recognize this and will be willing to adapt. So this might involve switching from passive reading to active note taking, trying a different study environment, seeking alternative explanations, or breaking down a complex task into smaller, more manageable parts. So, the willingness to experiment with and adjust learning techniques based on their effectiveness is hallmark of strong metacognitive ability. Next is skimming. So, it allows you to efficiently survey material to get a general overview, identify key themes, and determine its relevance of your learning goals. So, It is another valuable metacognitive tool because particularly when dealing with large amounts of information, it allows you to efficiently survey material to get a general overview. So, identify key themes and determine its relevance to your learning goals by quickly grasping the structure and main points of a text. So, you can strategically decide where to focus your deeper attention and study efforts. So, this skill helps us to manage our learning time effectively and prioritize information based on its importance on our current understanding. Lastly is rehearsing. So rehearsing it plays significant role in metacognition by actively engaging you in the process of encoding and retrieving information. So this goes beyond simply reading or reviewing material passively. So, rehearsal techniques such as summarizing in your own words, explaining concept to others using flashcards, self-testing help us solidify understanding and strengthen memory. So, by actively practicing and retrieving information, you monitor your learning process and identify areas where further study or clarification is needed. So, let's go back to the question. Okay, so your answer is knowing your limits. So the skills of knowing your limits, modifying approach, scheming, and rehearsing are crucial of exercising metacognition. However, the knowing your limits provides self-awareness necessary to guide learning ideas, while the modifying approach enables adaptability by changing tactics when our current methods aren't effective. Scheming allows for efficient information assessment and prioritization. And lastly, the rehearsing. Rehearsing actively engaged to material to improve understanding and retention while also facilitating self-monitoring of learning progress. So together, this skill empower individual to think about their thinking and become more strategic and learners. So therefore, the answer is knowing your limits.
All right. What a incredible journey we've had today, future educators. You've showcased your knowledge and determination.
Absolutely. Each question was a chance to shine, and we hope you had as much as fun we did.
Remember, this experience is just one step on your path to become licensed professional teachers. So keep pushing forward.
I am Charlene May Naldoza.
I am Jade Noreen Aliguay.
I'm Kristina Gilbuena. Until next time, keep striving, future magtutudlo.